minute I saw it, it seemed like so perfect of a match. I can't imagine a movie better suited. First of all, computer animation just seems to be really conducive to 3D. There's something hyper-dimensional about it that interests us even when you're watching on a 2D plane. But to have a movie that's all about the environment being three-dimensional, that there's all this depth to it, it was seamless. It was almost as if we had planned it for that in the future, which there's no way we could have, but it really seems like that. We tried our best with just the flat screen to give you what that sense feels like, and we had to break it down to all these little elements that remind you of that empty space that's there. And lo and behold, all those little tricks that we did were just a huge aid in incorporating the 3D effect of things. When they said, oh, we're going back to Nemo to make it into 3D, I was like, okay, and just ready to add it to the schedule and just sit down and watch that, and expected the same amount of difference. What shocked me was that within about 10 shots, it was like I had never seen a 3D movie before. It felt like I was more underwater. It didn't feel like the movie had been made 3D. It just felt like I was underwater more. I don't know how else to put it. And it really dropped you deeper into the story because it was so much a part of the story. It wasn't just a pretty backdrop. It was all about, not that it was just the main characters were just fish, but it's about the environment of the water. It's about, you know, that it's this predatory world, and how do you trust letting your kids go farther across the street when you know there's things all around that you can't see behind you and deep in the murk. It makes the moments that are scarier. It makes the moments that are beautiful more beautiful. It makes the moments that are sort of entertaining and tense. It just amplifies everything because you just believe you're that much more in it. There are some scenes that just took my breath away, even though I started to get used to the 3D. And when we were on the school ride with Nemo, and sort of seeing the world through his eyes about how beautiful it is, again, it plays so much with depth, not just looking out, but looking down and looking up, and rushing through it all on a ride, and that was amazing. I think the scene that probably was more than anything else a breathtaker was the jellyfish scene, because again, that on its own, before we ever got into 3D, was about depth. It was about filling it with endless layers of jellyfish that just seemed to go on forever. So it seemed like this formidable obstacle. How are you going to get out of this forest that you just can't see a way out? It's an invisible maze. And this just accentuated it to a whole new level. I gotta admit, that's probably selfishly the biggest thrill out of the whole idea of it going 3D. Is not only is it an added sensory look and plus to the film that nobody's experienced, but it's an excuse to get a whole bunch of kids, a whole new generation of kids, to see it in the theater like it was originally seen. I mean, every filmmaker, I think, would love to have their films rediscovered in the same way that they were presented in the first place, which is always, for me, the nostalgia of being in a big movie theater with the community of that audience all watching it collectively. You just, no matter how great your screening room is at home, you can never replicate that.